ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਭਾਈ ਲੋਕਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਜਾਂ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੋਸਾਇਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖੀਏ। ਔਰ ਪਟੋਲਾ ਬ੍ਰਿਜ ਦੀ ਚਾਹੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਲੋਕਲ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਰੋਡਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ, ਇਨਫਰਾਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ, ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਇਨਫਰਾਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਦੀ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ, ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਇਨਫਰਾਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਦੀ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ, ਆਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ ਇਜ਼ ਲੈਗਿੰਗ ਬਿਹਾਈਂਡ। ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ BC ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਜੌਨ ਰਸਟਡ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਲਾਈਨ ਤੇ ਨੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਗੁੱਡ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਰਸਟਡ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ ਫॉर ਜੁਆਇਨਿੰਗ।
Good morning. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Sir, today's hot topic was Premier's hot mic quip. What's your reaction on that about the opening of Patola Bridge?
Well, the Premier has always treated Surrey as a second-class city, and I think his jest, his joke in the open mic about the Patola Bridge in terms of what year it would be open is just another example of a government who is not taking the needs south of the Fraser seriously.
And what are your expectations? I mean, from the budget, I mean, we know that there's going to be a historical deficit. Is there anyone we can hold accountable for this apart from the government, or is the government is the only one solely responsible for this deficit?
When you look at the policies that put in place, for example, they've destroyed 2/3 of our forest sector. There's so many other of our sectors are struggling. Small business confidence is down. That's all on government in terms of their policies. And so when you look at their capital budget and their spending, just think, when David Eby took power 2.5 years ago, they were running a surplus. He is now running what is estimated to be close to an $18 billion deficit. And so that is all on government decisions, the mismanagement of our economy, and the bloating of our government. And when it comes to capital projects, they've got a $15 billion capital spend this year, which they say is record spending. But when you look at the cost overruns on every single project that they're doing, including the Patola Bridge, it's more than $15 billion. So you could basically say their entire budget this year is simply to cover their cost overruns on all these other projects they're doing.
Today we had a Minister of Mines with us, and he gave information about the merger of one of the biggest company in the world. How do you see that achievement of BC government?
When you look at the mining sector, look, we could have 17 mines open up. There's 27 possible to go forward that we know of at the moment. But the problem is it can take up to 15 years. And the mines ministers say, no, we can get it done in 5 years. And I say, BS. It takes close to 10 years, if not longer, just to get in the process. He doesn't account for the whole process. You go to a place like Sweden, and it takes 2 years. Why don't we just do what Sweden does? We don't need to reinvent the wheel. And so, but this is, government has put in so many challenges, so many issues associated with whether it's environmental assessment, whether it's permitting, everything else.
What's your advice? How we can follow the footsteps of Sweden or any other country where the permits are easy, or the ease of work is, more friendly?
What you need to do is you need to come to the understanding that more bureaucracy is the problem. And I
you mean the red tapeism?
It's Mark Twain who once said the bureaucracy is expanding to support the expanding bureaucracy. And so what the situation is, they keep adding more people, they keep adding more layers, they keep adding more legislation. All that does, it doesn't make it easier, it makes it harder, and it takes longer. We actually need less government. We need less. We need to clean up our legislation. We've got half a dozen acts in the legislature dealing with permitting. It should be one act. It needs to be cleaned up in a simple, clear process that you go through. Not to mention what they've done with our First Nations in terms of the DRIPA legislation, the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. That whole approach has created just literally a roadblock to actually being able to get investment in British Columbia.
And as far as the temporary foreign worker program is concerned, Premier, he said it very clearly that needs to be scrapped or reformed. How do you see that approach when the official opposition of federal politics and even you are saying the same thing, and now David Eby is, calling the same demand? How do you see that approach?
We actually ran on this in the last platform, and David Eby's changed his position, which isn't unusual. He will basically say whatever he thinks he needs to say to try to garner a vote.
You mean he's
But
copying you?
Oh yeah, our position. You can go back and look at our platform. It was very clear. We want to take control of our own immigration. These decisions shouldn't be made 4,000 kilometers from here. They should be made in British Columbia for British Columbians. And when it comes to temporary foreign workers, once again, it has to be managed as part of our overall immigration, which needs to be cleaned up and fixed. But temporary foreign workers are critical for our agriculture sector and even components of our tourism sector. You need to be able to have these, but you need to be able to get rid of the abuse. And a one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't work. So we need to crack down on the bad actors and the things that are going on to make sure we protect our jobs for people in British Columbia. But at the same time, we have to understand that this is part of how we need to operate. And that's why a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work. We need to have it take control of our own immigration like Quebec does.
Mr. Ostrad, what's your thoughts on the latest Angus Reid poll of premiers, where most of the premiers are trending downside, and our premier is coming on third from the bottom?
Yeah, it's a symptom of the real problems we have in our economy, whether it's people lack of confidence in government institutions, whether it's our healthcare system. And I tell you what's going on, in Surrey and south of the border in terms of the OGBYN treatment, for cancer treatment. We should have a quick talk about that. But crime, our economy, all of these things people are looking at and saying, we need change. And they're looking at a premier who has failed to deliver. I mean, remember, this is a premier who inherited a surplus, has basically bankrupted our province, is on track for record deficits with nothing to show for it. Nobody can point to anything that is improved or that is better under the NDP government.
Mr. Ostrad, now it's just only been a year left for the civic elections. And as you said, that Surrey, the province is not giving a fair deal to Surrey. What are your expectations from the Conservative Electorals Association, the new civic conservative party?
Well, first of all, as a provincial party, we're not associated or connected with them at all. My suggestion to a group like that, and I know who is involved with it, and I will be having some conversation with them. But my expectations are we need to be able to respect the local cities in terms of how they do politics, where it might make sense to have sort of trying to bring together the center-right vote. Yet I hope we're able to achieve that. There's many places, particularly on the island, but also other communities where the NDP have treated it as a farm team. And there's been absolutely disastrous consequences in some of those communities, and we need change. Just like we need change at the provincial level, we need it at a municipal level as well.
So are you going to support them directly or indirectly if their ideologies are similar to your ideologies or the federal ideologies, as federal conservatives are supporting you directly, indirectly as well?
So I think in certain circumstances we may get involved and support it, but broadly, no. We won't be there. We won't be engaged in supporting it. I think it just creates too many problems. Many people, particularly in communities like in my riding, they don't appreciate the idea of slates. They don't appreciate the idea of political interference. They're more independent-minded, and I don't want to be stepping in and creating problems in those communities. But like I say, there are some communities where we've seen this very, very bad leadership, and we need changes in those communities.
All right, Mr. Ostrad, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on today.